What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be answering some of your questions and comments. So do me a favor, if you like this format, like the video, subscribe to the channel. As always, this is not medical advice. This should not be used to treat or diagnose medical conditions. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You guys asked some good questions, and I figured I'd answer it with my experience. I've owned a gym for 12 years. I've been in business for a long time, and I own Steel Health and Hormone Center. We are an HRT clinic, and hopefully I give you some good information. So the first question comes from Ricky Car Fan 54. Ricky asks, how would you describe the difference between a SERM as tamoxifen and an aromatase inhibitor as anastrozole? Okay, so a SERM and an AI, an aromatase inhibitor, may have overlapping effects, but they have very different mechanisms of action. So a SERM binds to the estrogen receptor, and sometimes it can prevent activation of that receptor. Sometimes it activates the receptor, whereas an aromatase inhibitor prevents the conversion of androgens into estrogens. So if you have a SERM that's inhibiting the effect of estrogen and versus an AI, which is lowering your total estrogen load in your body, it may have overlapping effects, but one blocks the receptor, one blocks the conversion. So it's a different mechanism of action. Good question. Next question comes from Jackie Chan 007. Jackie asks, so Reta helps you lose fat without losing muscle mass. I can lose body fat, but the fat around my belly takes longer and would lose muscle mass! Exclamation point. Jackie's serious about that. So again, Reta will help lose fat from belly area and will allow me to keep my muscles. Is that it? I don't understand. All right, Jackie, so first off, this is just for the YouTube community. Technically, it's called Retatrutide, but I am from Western Pennsylvania. Jackie, you probably have no idea where that is, but I'm here to tell you, we regularly butcher the Queen's English. So I'm gonna call it Retatrutide. But basically, if memory serves, and again, I'm going strictly off of memory, when I read through the phase 2 clinical trials, they had these people work with a nutritionist and somebody to help them with exercise. So was it that the Retatrutide prevented muscle loss compared to other GLP-1s, or was it that the exercise prevented muscle loss compared to the other GLP-1 trials? It's hard to say. Maybe that's some more research that I need to do for the YouTube community, but I'm just gonna leave this with you. When you are in a calorie deficit, whether you're on a GLP-1 or whether you're just dieting the old-fashioned way, if you're not doing resistance training, you are going to lose a significant amount of lean tissue. The best way to preserve lean tissue is to give it a reason to stick around through resistance training. So whether you do, so this is what we do with our patients. We always try to encourage them to exercise, because whether it's semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide, resistance training is gonna go a long way to preventing the loss of lean tissue. So honestly, Jackie, you just gotta lift weights, dude. Next question. This is coming from Brian Pulley 8652. So I've committed before in one of your videos about how at 53 on 100 milligrams of Cypionate has my total testosterone from the 300s to the 1300s. Damn. I don't want to use HCG and was wondering what running Enclo at a low dose every other day, if I could save my nuggets, LOL. So Brian, we have had a ton of guys, in terms of saving nuggets, we need to make a distinction here. We've had a ton of guys that come to our clinic because they were going to a different clinic that has them on TRT plus Enclomiphene to preserve fertility. Those people came to us because it did not preserve fertility. Does that mean it doesn't work for anybody? Or for everybody rather? Maybe it'll work for some guys, but the HCG in terms of saving, preserving, and sometimes even restoring fertility goes way, way further than Enclomiphene in just our experience. In terms of saving the nuggets in terms of size, some guys say that Enclomiphene works for that. But again, I believe that is less reliable than HCG. Again, because HCG is standing in for luteinizing hormone. It's literally telling your nuts to make more testosterone, which can preserve size, and you don't need to rely on your body's internal LH production. It's a good question though. Next question. It's from Usually Off. So combining Enclomiphene and HCG would be better than just Enclomiphene. And what might be good dosages to maximize test and minimize long-term LH-FSH suppression? So let's answer the first question first. So combining Enclomiphene and HCG would be better than just Enclomiphene. Better in terms of more testosterone production? I can say pretty definitively, in our experience, yes. HCG plus Enclomiphene, we have seen increased testosterone than just Enclomiphene monotherapy. Full stop. That's our experience. And what might be good dosages to maximize test? Let's start with that part. Everybody's different with enclomiphene. It seems like in the literature that I was reading, 25 milligrams every other day had the highest effect on testosterone production, but you might not need that much. And it's always about taking the minimal effective dose and minimize long-term LH-FSH suppression. LH and FSH suppression usually doesn't come from enclomiphene, man. Enclomiphene basically tricks your body to produce more LH and FSH. In terms of HCG, I have not seen that really suppress LH, and even if it does, let's say it does suppress LH, okay? Even though sometimes when we have the LH or when we have the Enclomiphene HCG membership and we check LH, it usually looks decent. But even if it does suppress LH, the HCG is standing in for LH, and for most guys, that increase in intratesticular testosterone, while not always sufficient, is a necessary component for sperm production. So I'll be honest, dude, I don't know if the concern of LH and FSH suppression is a real threat with enclomiphene especially, and maybe even enclomiphene plus HCG. This comment came from my HCG and Enclomiphene video. Ettore Malorana 5429 asks, can this combination be run for a long period of time? I have heard of risk of long-term Leydig cell desensitization when on HCG for a prolonged period of time. I can say in our clinic and our experience, when we're running therapeutic levels of HCG, 1,000 to 2,000 IUs a week, that's what seems to work very well for our patients. We have not seen desensitization. We've been open now for long enough that I think we would start to see some sort of desensitization, maybe in terms of lowered sperm production, but we have not seen that yet. Maybe if you're doing an absurd amount for a very long time, maybe you'll start to see some desensitization. But for us, 1,000 to 2,000 IUs a week, we have not seen that. Last question, let's do one more, guys. This is from RiverGod21. Hey man, love the video, great stuff. Thank you, RiverGod. Can you tell me if enclomiphene would be okay to use with Anavar and MK to help with IGF-1 decrease? I heard that an Anavar only cycle is not worth it as 20 milligrams of Anavar can lower T. I also heard that Anavar reduces estrogen due to SBHG uncoupling, inducing more free T. All right, man, let's start with the first part. Enclomiphene absolutely does lower IGF-1. It's shown pretty reliably in the research, and we see it in our patients. MK is not something that we get from our compounding pharmacies. That is, I don't know if it's legal, but it's definitely gray market, and everything we do is above board. Enclomiphene lowers IGF-1, but MK increases IGF-1 in a different mechanism. So enclomiphene operates on the estrogen receptors, MK operates on the ghrelin receptor. So you may, in theory, be able to offset that lowering of IGF-1 from enclomiphene by increasing IGF-1 from MK. I like that in theory, but I have not seen that because, again, we do not do MK. We do sermorelin though. So we'll have guys that are on HCG, enclomiphene, sermorelin, and we do not see the same suppression of IGF-1. It's very, very minute when we introduce sermorelin. Enclomiphene with Anavar, are you trying to save your natural testosterone production? That's the only reason why I think you would want to take enclomiphene with Anavar. Maybe that will offset the decrease in natural testosterone, but maybe not. Something that works more reliably when you're taking an exogenous androgen is HCG. I know it sounds like I'm hating on enclomiphene. I'm really not. We do a ton of enclomiphene, and it is a good medication, but when you're starting to introduce exogenous androgens, it's just less reliable. So if you're worried about saving the nuggets, HCG is probably more reliable than enclomiphene would be. I hear that Anavar only cycle is not worth it as 20 milligrams of Anavar can lower T. Yeah, so if you're taking an exogenous androgen, even something like Anavar, most guys are gonna see some suppression in their natural testosterone production. I also heard that Anavar reduces estrogen due to SBHG uncoupling, inducing more free T. So Anavar, at least in the literature and in my own experience, I took 25 milligrams of Anavar every single day for 32 days. My SHBG definitely went down, my free T definitely went up. My estrogen didn't really change too much if memory serves. I'd have to go back and watch that video. I'll link it at the end, you tell me. But in terms of Anavar, honestly, dude, like if you're gonna get into that type of stuff, you're starting to run these things, you just gotta be careful, dude. Honestly, I would go the white market route, work with a qualified medical professional. If you're somebody watching this video and you're interested, Steele Health and Hormone Center, center spelled re.com. Fill out a contact form. We'll be in touch within 24 hours. But if you're gonna go down this path, honestly, dude, like talking to the old juice heads that go to my gym, they have a saying, and I think it actually makes a ton of sense looking at their blood work: test is best. I get it. It can be like, it could suck to give yourself a shot. The first time I gave myself a shot of test, it was definitely like nerve-wracking. But testosterone, in my opinion, is a safe therapeutic when done in conventional doses. And if you're gonna really abuse it, it's probably not safe, but it's probably safer than doing like designer drugs that you're almost certainly buying off the black market. And again, that's just my opinion. So look, guys, I just wanted to pull out some of the comments. If you like this type of stuff, do me a favor, like the video. If you have a question, leave it in the comments. So obviously I'm the owner of Steele Health and Hormone Center. We're an HRT clinic. I've experimented with this stuff myself. I've owned a gym for 12 years, so fitness related stuff, ask it. I'm into business. I have a real estate portfolio, like a ton of, not a ton, but I got like enough employees that maybe if you have a business question, I can answer it. I don't know. But again, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.